Welcome back to Fantasy Football Podcast, presented by just me from the PEDs tonight, and the commissioners joining me. What's happening, Jay?
Well, not much. I like to think of us more as a performance-enhancing brothers tonight.
Oh, nice. I see what you did there.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
Is that fair? All right,
Yeah.
fair. Cheers.
All right, with that, we have trade deadline this week, Saturday, and trade deadline may not be overly exciting because we just hit all of our trades this week. So 7 trades between yesterday and this morning. So we'll start with me and Boyer. I know the trade or the chat kind of already shamed me for it. But go ahead, publicly give your opinion on my Tua and 4 draft dollars for Josh Allen.
Actually, I like it, but I actually think Tua is really good too. So I think the only thing you did there was overpay for a little better of a quarterback, which if it works out, it works out.
Yeah,
How do you feel?
I like Josh Allen's playoffs a little bit better. He's been a little bit more on the consistent side. Tua's had a couple games down in the 10-12 range, where Josh Allen, until Monday night when I was already had the deal in place, he hadn't had a bad game in 4 or 5 weeks. Allen does have the bye week 13 still, so I still have to deal with that. I bought a bye week guy, but I've still got Goff I can deal with.
Yeah, bye weeks aren't a concern for you at this point,
right?
At 7 or 9-1 or whatever you are, to 8-2.
8-2, yeah. So I'm fine. Yeah. So it is what it is. I wanted hopefully a more consistent, even if it's 4 or 5 points. 4 or 5 points may make a big difference come playoff time.
Hey, so we'll see. He's the better quarterback in the deal, and you spent the money.
I was planning on spending everything I had anyway. I was going to go up my team for everything I got. I mortgaged next year, which is
classic Tyler.
It's not what I do, but I normally sell everything. Yeah. But here we go. So we got Charlie gets Joe Burrow from Andy for Trevor Lawrence and $4. So another tier up or quarterback swap with a $4 throw in. I like Joe Burrow a lot more than Trevor Lawrence, so I think that jump is higher than Tua to Allen. So for me, I like this trade for Charlie. I like Andy being able to still get a competing quarterback and getting the money out of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would just say, is Andy getting a competing quarterback, or Trevor Lawrence has been god awful this year? But again, Andy's not competing for the championship this year, and Charlie just bought himself a quarterback to compete in that bottom division there and for the wild card.
Yeah, well, and with Boyer moving Allen for Tua, Boyer took a small step down, so Andy still needs to have a quarterback. I don't know if Lawrence was a big deal. He could have found somebody off waivers, could have picked up somebody smaller. But I mean, all in all, I don't know that Joe Burrow would have gone for more than $4 or $5 by himself. So getting Lawrence was fine.
Yeah, correct. I think it was a good deal on both sides there.
So the next one goes back to me. I trade the rest of my draft dollars, all $19, to get Austin Eckler from Colin. Yeah, that's right. Big spender over here.
Tyler, 19 draft dollars.
There was
19.
There was apparently offers on the table. We started at 10, bumped to 12. He said somebody was at 15. And I said, listen, at this point, we're going to get to 16, 17, 18 anyway. I'm just going to throw my last couple and grab him. And if Colin was screwing with me, he said it was a legit offer. I don't know who it was from. I just know he said it was a legit offer.
I'm going to be honest with you. I heard Jeremy was out at 11. The duo was out at, I think, or Fryer was out at 14. There could have been other people in the pot there. Duo, Charlie, who knows? But you got a good playoff schedule out of Eckler. I'll say that much. But you spent for a good playoff schedule, and it'll be nice for you to have a shot at the championship this year and definitely be a bottom barrel team next year.
Don't worry about me next year. I'm worried about this year.
That's true. Hey, you got a good playoff running back.
I haven't given up money into 2025 yet. I can start using that money to rebuy in.
That's smart. That's next level.
Yeah. But honestly, I had thrown. All right. So let me ask you. I had already thrown Walker a week ago, pre-week 10, when AJ Brown was on bye. I offered Walker all 23 of my draft dollars I had left for AJ Brown.
Yeah, because your receivers aren't good.
Right. But
yeah,
Eckler
that's why I was
fills a
surprised.
flex.
That's why I was surprised you were getting a running back. But you got what you got. He fills a flex. You don't need to throw a receiver in there. And again, if he runs through the playoffs and gets you the championship, who cares about next year?
My money's covered, right?
But you spent more than I think most reasonable people were ready to spend.
I'm not reasonable, man.
But I hope you do well.
You can't say I hope I win because you're hoping to be
correct. I hope you do well.
All right. So Colin trades Josh Jacobs to the duo for 10 draft dollars and Kareem Hunt. So Kareem Hunt's probably only worth a couple draft dollars anyway. So probably that $12 to $13 range, depending upon how you look at Kareem Hunt. Zach Moss went for $1, so Kareem Hunt would have gone for at least 2 or 3. And I think that's about where Duo was looking to spend on Eckler, and I like Eckler over Jacobs. But for this specific trade, I'm not mad about it from the Duo. I lied. They spent $9 this year, $1 next year because they had to go back and readjust it.
Yeah, I made sure that commissioner stepped in. So don't worry about it. I'm here. Thank you for whoever pointed that out.
Yes. So 9 draft dollars this year, 1 next year, plus Kareem Hunt for Jacobs. I like it. The Duo's loading up. He wants to compete with you and Charlie, and they want to make the playoffs. There's a lot of buying. Running backs was a hot market. I'm not mad about the price they paid for Jacobs. I just don't trust Las Vegas all that much, but Jacobs is the only weapon there that's been doing it. So
I hear you. I like the buy. Jacobs is one of the few running backs in the league that carries over 85 or something % of that team's carries. I mean, so you can't ask for more volume. All you could do is ask for a better team, I guess. But at this point, beggars can't be choosers. So they took what they can get. And they didn't pay that steep of a price. So I kind of like it for them.
Yeah.
And you don't want to start Kareem Hunt, do you? I don't.
No, not if you're making a playoff run.
No.
So then we go to another running back that was being traded, which shocked the hell out of me. Charlie got Jonathan Taylor from Boyer for Rachaad White, Jaylen Warren, and 8 draft dollars. This one's big for keeper situation as well. I had talked to Boyer early on. I think he said Duo did. Charlie had
$30?
$40
keeper. Okay.
But even then, Jonathan Taylor, if he's healthy and good to go next year, is going to be $60, $65 with the top end running back. So that's $25 in Charlie's pocket. Boyer gets Rachaad White, which was kept this year, so he can't be kept next year. Jaylen Warren is a $9 keeper right now. So I don't know that I'm keeping Jaylen Warren. And then 8 draft dollars. Jaylen Warren was named the starter, but I think him and Najee are going to be split, and it's not going to matter. Split. Warren's going to get the first touch of the game. He'll be deemed the starter, and then that's it. That's what it is.
That's correct.
So I like the trade for Charlie. I get what Boyer's thought process was on keeping running backs so he can continue to not be naked, get the draft dollars. But had he gone into next season with Jonathan Taylor at $40 and Breece Hall at $24, you're keeping 2 good starting running backs for the price of 1 starting running back. So that's really blew my mind on that.
Yeah, I think honestly it's another great trade for Charlie. All these buyers are getting the players they need, and I don't think, no offense, Tyler, but I think you could have gotten Jonathan Taylor and had almost the same opportunity that you currently have and a better keeper for next year. But you don't know that. You don't know that deal's happening. But I think, what a buy. And I don't hate the sell though.
So when I talked to Boyer after this, I said, "You bastard." I asked about Jonathan Taylor, and he said, once the Duo bought, we were the 2 big buyers for Jonathan Taylor. And since the 2 of us bought, Boyer said, well, this might have been my last chance to get anything out of Taylor. So I don't think he was planning on selling, but once the other 2 went, he said, what the hell, I might as well do it. So
Yeah.
Taylor wasn't necessarily on the table.
Yeah.
And Boyer knew. I had talked to Boyer about buying AJ Brown. I was like, am I nuts for just selling the farm for this? And so he knew that this money was on the table because I said, if AJ Brown isn't there, I'm willing to buy somebody else for a high price. Let me know if you got somebody available. And it wasn't available until after I made a buy and then the duo made a buy. So it just shocked me because he went from unavailable to available real damn quick.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, good,
So,
good for the persistence over there, I guess. I mean, geez.
yeah. So then it jumps us into the next one. Charlie acquires Zach Moss for $1 from Andy. Just handcuffing Jonathan Taylor
Yeah.
for $1. Great work. I'm
Good work, both of you.
100% behind that.
Good work, both of you.
And then we move to you. You send $6 to Boyer for T. Higgins and 30 Fab. I love it. T. Higgins is out this week, but he should be coming back healthy after that. And that's a solid wide receiver 2-3 situation for you.
Yeah.
So I like to buy for $6. It's not the 23 I was looking to pay, but
correct. I think that I have a minor buyer's regret here because I have Stephon Diggs, I have Amon-Ra St. Brown, I have Tyler Lockett. So to me, I'm hedging my bet here. Seattle has such a great schedule the rest of the way, but if JSN does take over, I need to have something to fall on for my flex if I don't want to start one of my running backs. So for the $10 or $6 cost, I can go from an excess budget next year to a slightly deficit budget next year. So not that big of a risk for me. But I do think I maybe overpaid $1 or $2 there.
Yeah, but I would have paid $6. I mean, I'm not mad about it.
You don't have any more money. You don't have money.
They were trying to get me to buy more players, and I had no money. Boyer wanted a keeper spot. He would have taken a keeper spot for me instead of your $6 because he asked me about that.
He did. I declined a keeper spot, and there's no chance in hell I was getting rid of a keeper spot. So
I don't have keepers. I don't have money. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. All right.
Well,
I'm just here for championships.
Good for Boyer for keeping his team somewhat competitive, but also getting rid of players to bulk up for next year. Something that he doesn't normally do. He's usually in the cellar of the budgets. So
yeah. He always comes into the next year low on budget, but he got some draft dollars this year, which is good for him. So, all right. Those are our trades from this week. Be interested to see if anybody else makes a move. I'm out. I can't make any more moves.
Cannot make any more moves.
I could sell out 25, but I'm not doing that. So here we go. Let's jump into some stats. You want to run us through any specific stats here?
Let's go through just real quickly. I've got the let's look at the overall rankings total here. So we've got Andy as a 56.1%. He's the leader, first to 100 wins, still the only one at 100 wins. He's at 101. But surprisingly, we don't have a minimum for this. Duos at number 2 at 55.9%. Any thoughts on when we should count duo, Tyler?
I mean, I'm good.
68 games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good throwing them up into that 2, 3, 4 slot with the top 5 at least. I mean, I'm not worried about games. They've done it so far. They're doing it this year. I mean, they've yet to really be a bottom dweller. So I'm good putting them up.
We have seen them in the buff.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So they had their 1 year.
They did have their 1 year. So we've not all had it, but we've had it. So
that's right.
So then you got Chris at 55%. He is 2 games behind Andy for the total lead. He's always been on Andy's heels, right behind him. Then you got Colin and Robbie and Charlie rounding out the teams to 51 to 53%. So I assume the other top tier teams, the only thing difference there is Charlie hasn't won a championship, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So, and then we got the real change up here. Boyer's sitting at 50%. He's kind of got his own middle pack there. And then Walker and Jeremy are at 48 and 47.8. And then Tyler, congratulations. You have finally moved out of the cellar. You are tied with Paul and Fryer for worst record of current teams. How do you feel?
It's great. I'm moving in the right direction this year. Next year is a whole different story. But this year I'm moving in the right direction. I have a toilet bowl sitting next to my computer on my work desk. I'm
Yeah.
ready to get rid of that. I wish
Are
I
you
had it at home
prepared?
so I could show you guys.
Are you prepared to get it back next year?
Yeah, there's a good possibility, but I'm not worried about next year yet. Remember, we're still worried about this year.
Correct. Well, I would say this too. So the 12th team is technically the bottom, which would be at 43.9%. Now, Tyler, the current playoff projections are the 12th team in last. Tyler in second to last percentages, tied with Fryer, who's also projected in. And Paul didn't quite, he's not quite there, but Jeremy. So we have 4 of the 5 bottom overall teams all time projected in playoffs. We're gonna see some shakeup.
That's right. Hell's freezing over.
We finally did it.
Andy's talking
Andy
about
sold.
snowball fights.
Andy's selling. What's
That's
happening?
Right.
Oh my God, it's like a dream come true. Andy sells players. We get the playoffs. I mean, I'm gonna have to call mom and dad. Yeah, maybe they'll finally be proud of us.
We'll have to let mom and dad know the adopted kid got beat one year.
Yeah, they're gonna be so proud of us for the first time in their
lives. That's right.
Any thoughts on the standings here, Ty, before we move on?
No, I think that's I did want to cover real quick playoffs and consolation real quick. Just one fun stat that I saw when you sent me this. I currently have the best playoff percentage record, just so everybody's aware. So if I make playoffs, sorry about your guys' luck. But Jeremy and Boyer, I think, are the only two that we find on both lists under 500 in both playoff and consolation. So Jeremy and Boyer, they make playoffs. It's not a great thing for them. I don't know how that makes you feel going into this year, but every year is different.
Yeah, I don't have a championship for a reason. Boyer doesn't have a championship Boyer's got a championship, right? One. Yeah. I don't have a championship for a reason. I can't speak for Boyer. I'm bad at fantasy football. I just commission.
That's fair. That's why you're allowed in the league still.
That's the only reason, because you guys can't kick me out.
That's right.
So,
but yeah, other than that, do you want to tell people real quick about how easy my schedule's been? I know me and you had talked about it.
I do. Yeah. So let me just real quick pull up. I've got it here. So I want to talk first about weekly points against. Let me make sure I'm there. And I've got a few fun facts here. Okay. So this is your strength of schedule on a per week basis based on where you rank. Like, did you play the top scoring team? Did you play the lowest scoring team? So ideally, you should average out around the 6 mark, because you should play high teams, you should play low teams. This should all average out. If you're a better team, you should have a lower, and if you're a worse team, you should have a higher, because you can't play yourself. But let me start with Fryer. Okay, I want to start with Fryer's strength of schedule. Fryer has played the lowest scoring team in the league 4 times. There are 4 weeks it is impossible for Fryer to lose, where we all ended up scoreless. We could have shuffled the schedule or with any way besides the way it was, and Fryer may have lost, but he could not possibly lose with this team being there. So Fryer is playing the 8.3, the 8th worst team per week, which is embarrassing. So Fryer's had a ridiculously easy schedule. Can you agree to that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do you know why I'm asking you to agree to that?
Yeah, I absolutely 100% know why you're asking me to agree to that.
All right, everybody. So Tyler, our 8-2 team here, albeit he's been fantastic this year. He has not played a team that has been a top 3 team. He hasn't played a team that's been a top 4 team on a week all season. He's only played, the best he's played is the 5th best team on a week, and he's done that twice. Everything else is 7th and lower. So Tyler has just played teams on bad weeks the whole season. 2 12s, we got 1 11, 2 10s. I mean, Tyler, do you just like wake up in the morning and look at the roster and say, I'm just going to get a win this week? This is easy.
Man, I wake up and I piss excellence,
Plain and simple.
That's just what it is. No, to be honest, it's great. I appreciate you putting a schedule together like this, because with me running Jahan Dotson and Jacoby Myers and Drake London and
Well,
these scrubs most of the year. I do appreciate this.
oh my God. I try to randomize the schedule. And in my defense, I use Andy. I assign our weeks different names and I make Andy pick these names so he decides where they go. And Andy has really helped you. And Andy is actually the second hardest schedule on the year. So he really screwed himself. So the hardest schedule on the year, though, is Colin, who has played the top team, the top team 3 times. So it's been tough sledding for Colin.
Yeah. So
I would say besides Colin and Andy, besides Fryer and Tyler, the median starts to kick in there in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Tyler, let's look at your points 4. Let's look at points 4 real quick. Do you want to guess where you probably already saw where you stand?
I've been looking at stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Tyler, you've dropped drastically over the past 4 weeks. Is this where you're buying? Are you spending every dollar to buy because your team can't be a top 6 team the past 4 weeks?
I still win games. Leave me alone.
You do win games. You do win games.
No, I mean, not necessarily. I was Ford was banged up a little bit. McCaffrey was having problems. We have my wide receiver room. Tua had a couple bad weeks. I mean, I knew that I was in trouble there for a couple weeks, and luckily I was able to slide out of that with minimal damage.
Well, we shouldn't feel too bad for Andy and Colin because they're respectively sitting at the 11 and 10 spot. So they don't have much to complain about with a hard schedule. They shouldn't be winning games anyway. The one team on here that is a little surprising is Paul. He started the season doing very well with like an average finish the first 5 weeks at 5.4. So he was a top half team that first 5 weeks. And since then, we have 4 12th place finishes in the last 5 weeks, throwing a 10th as a nice, victory lap for Paul. But I mean, Paul, we might as well call you the Goodwill. You're just our donation center here.
Yeah, and he'll tell you that he was the one that didn't want this rule, and so we'll see.
For his sake, I hope he doesn't get 12th this next week.
Yeah, in the 1 week that he didn't get 12th, the duo got 12th, and the duo got first 2 of the weeks he was in 12th. So they've just been flipping money back. It's good for them.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is partially right here. The $5 is partially why some of the people haven't sold yet until like last minute, because I don't think they wanted to pay the extra $5 the last couple weeks. I don't, I think it's been beneficial because I think people are not selling off as early or granted, I wasn't in that boat and I'm normally the first one to sell. But having the $5 on the line every week makes a difference when you could be throwing out 25, 30 bucks extra for just sucking.
That's correct. Well, fun fact about me, Tyler, is of the top 7 teams in our weekly placement, I'm the only one not to get a first and win the money. So Robbie, you, Duo, Chris, Fryer, Walker have all done it. And then you could even go down to Charlie and Paul have both done it as well. So actually, I'm in terrible standing. Me, Boyer, Colin, and Andy are the ones that haven't, and I don't want to be associated with them this year.
That's fair. So all right. Well, before we move on to the next segment, let's hit a little. Yeah, get it. What are you drinking, dude?
I made a trip down and I got a little Buffalo Trace the other week. So I got a little Buffalo Trace neat here. What about you?
I'm just doing peach whiskey as per the normal when I hit my whiskey.
That's peach whiskey. That's what all the people with the sophisticated palates drink.
Right. It puts hair on my chest or something. I don't know. People tell me. I don't know.
Something like that. I'm
just here to have a good time. Have a couple drinks, see what happens.
Fair.
So, all right. Let's do. Jeremy and I had talked earlier about doing a new thing where we are going to try to compare your guys' team to an NFL team. So Jeremy took 6, I took 6. We're going to run down.
Tyler, I'm going to go first in case my phone dies, and then you can do the predictions on your own if it does.
That's fine.
That sounds fair. All right.
This is Jeremy's way to duck out on me real early. Go ahead.
That's great. I just don't want to be around Tyler any longer. All right. I'm going to start with Boyer. So Boyer, I would compare Boyer this year to the Buffalo Bills. We're talking about a team. He was a preseason favorite. Tyler, have the Buffalo Bills, you'd say were a preseason favorite,
Sure.
up near the top. How are the Buffalo Bills doing right now?
5-5.
Boyer's not doing very well. Is Boyer in the playoffs?
No.
Neither are the Bills. They both can't seem to figure it out. They both had good teams, and they're just not able to put it together. Boyer's throwing interceptions. Josh Allen's throwing interceptions. Neither one's finding a way to win. So I would compare Boyer to the Bills. I don't know if that's good or bad. They just fired their offensive coordinator, so Boyer, just be careful.
Yeah, hot seat for sure.
All right, duo is I would compare these two to not only like in their attitude, but their team as well, to the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones over there. We're looking at a team. They actually might be the best team in the division, but they may be behind the Super Bowl champions, which would be who, Ty?
You?
The Philadelphia Eagles and me, correct.
Oh, okay.
Well, sure. I didn't choose my own, but I'm just saying. They're an amazing team sitting behind another amazing team. So you just got teams there, tough division. They also got rid of Pollard, just like the Cowboys seem to want to do. Neither team wants to play Pollard, so they got rid of him. And they also both have the same amount of wins on the season, Cowboys and the duo. Fun fact. Fair comparison?
Yeah.
Fair. All right. Fryer is all time. Fryer meets this, but especially this season. Fryer is the Detroit Lions. He's the lovable loser. We all love him. And by God, he's finally having a good season. I mean, tell you what, he might be in the worst division, just like the Detroit Lions, but he's able to take the lead just like the Lions are. And a lot of people actually compare his personality to Dan Campbell, very similar to that. So he also has the same amount of wins as the Detroit Lions. So fun fact there. All right, let's go to Charlie. I'm going to save you for last, Ty.
That's fair.
Charlie, let's say Charlie is similar to the Los Angeles Rams. We're talking about a team that, you didn't know if they were going to be really good this year or they weren't going to be able to do it. A lot of injuries. Kupp's been out, Stafford's been out. Kyron Williams has been hurt. Who's the running back? Cam Akers is traded. Like, you just don't know what's happening here. Charlie's got Jonathan Taylor, who is out. Jamar Chase, who's been out. Fields, who's been out. Monty, who's been out. He's got Calvin Ridley, who apparently doesn't know how to play football anymore. So, but we all, we had hope that his team could do it, and they just don't have to be able to do it. So, with his talent, though, we thought he was the team to beat down there.
We thought 13-0, according to earlier podcasts.
I mean, we thought he was the team to beat, just like the Rams could be a Super Bowl team, but they're not.
No.
Colin is very similar to the Chargers. This was me. The AP press put him out at the beginning of the year to win the division. And as you know, Tyler, he's not currently winning the division. I'd call him the Chargers. Okay. We expect way more out of him. Okay. And he's on the outside looking in. The only difference between him and the Chargers is they're not fire sailing, and Colin is. He got rid of Eckler. They've kept Eckler. And Colin's coached this season about as well as Brandon Staley's coached the Chargers, which is, I would assume, an insult to everyone.
To everyone.
All right. And then the last team we got here, Tyler, is you. Okay. And I don't want your head to get bigger than the screen here. So just take this with a grain of salt. I would compare you to the Kansas City Chiefs. All right. They are who we thought they were. We all thought Tyler would be good. He had a huge budget. He went out. He got a good team. And we all thought it was him and Colin to lead this division. The division is a little weaker than expected, kind of like the Raiders, the Broncos, the Chargers. But Tyler's still got that great team. He's got him up at 8-2, and he's probably the favorite to be in the playoffs or a Super Bowl, just like the Chiefs. So, Tyler, you might be our Super Bowl favorite here, in my opinion, and just like the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's fair. So, if we go back to back, it'd be perfect too.
You'll feel good about that?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, you're up. But I apologize if I die, but I'll watch the rest if I die.
That's fair. You should watch it anyway for views. Just put it on multi-speed and keep it rolling. All right, so I got Andy as Green Bay Packers. He has decent young receivers that have been underperforming, an underperforming quarterback, some running backs that should have had high upside that just let him down all year. Andy, as a manager, has always been at the top of the division / league.
Like the Packers.
They traded away Aaron Rodgers, made some offseason moves, made some decisions, and now they're at the bottom. So I definitely compared Andy to Green Bay. I feel like
I'm sure he'll love that.
Fit.
He's gonna love
that. So Robbie, I put his the Cleveland Browns. He's got a solid middle of the road quarterback with upside until Watson got hurt. Injuries at running back and underwhelming wide receiver play. Still being able to maintain an outside chance at playoffs. So,
and he likes massages.
Listen, I wasn't going to go there on a national podcast, but
my apologies.
I don't need investigations going on around here. So Chris, I put in as the Bengals. He's had some injuries early on and wasn't able to put together a solid team, even with his wide receiver duo, his quarterback. Everything was hurt. Chase was struggling early on. Higgins has been hurt on and off. Burrow was hurt with the calf. And now everything's swinging in the right direction. His running backs are known to be a boom.
Too little, too late?
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, for playoffs, a wild card, maybe, but I think it's a long shot. He's definitely not taking me down. But his running backs are known to have the boom bust weeks, and his tight end has not been a shining spot on his roster all year. So pretty much fills out the Bengals roster.
Does.
Paul, I put as the Broncos. I put Paul after draft day. Some of us saw that Paul could have had a fighting chance in our division. I think with Sean Payton coming in with Russ, I think that people had a higher expectation than what the Broncos have put up this year. And that's kind of where Paul's at. Some injuries slowed him. Javonte Williams, some other, Broncos guys. Paul's had some injuries and underperforming wide receivers, which seems to be a trend with some of those top wide receivers this year. He had Devontae Adams, which has been not great. A lot of people had higher expectations of Jerry Jeudy this year, and that didn't work either.
He's just another guy.
And I think both the Broncos and Paul are already looking forward to next year. So let's get out of this season and move on, huh? So Walker, I'll save you for last as well, since you kept me on the back end. Then if you die off, you have to listen to it anyway. So Walker, I actually asked Jeremy because I was having a hard time with Walker. Chargers were in my head as well because it's a high scoring team that just can't find a way to win. But we went with the Commanders. They've scored a good amount of points. They're 4th or 5th in the NFC. Walker's got the most points in our league. He's just not had good defense this year. Yes, his Cowboys defense on his team has been great and been leading him, but other teams are scoring more points than you, which puts you in a bad spot. He has the second highest points against in our league. And he had Brian Robinson and traded him away. So I don't think the Commandos are trying to do that, but Walker definitely made it happen. So I think Walker's ready for next season as well. Jeremy, I put as the Dolphins. Second highest scoring team in the league with big boom wide receivers and solid running back duo / trio. Quarterback play has been consistent as Tua's been mostly consistent. He's had a couple bad weeks.
No tight end.
What?
No tight end. No tight end.
And no tight end. But the Dolphins have lost because they just haven't had anything going on offense. And Jeremy's had a couple of those weeks where the offense just didn't hit. He could have won, and it didn't happen. I think the week that you played me, we put up 60 and 70 points.
Just like the Dolphins.
Just like the Dolphins, just tanked a couple weeks. But they're both leading a super tight division with a big playoff race. So I got you at the top of your division still. I think you're still going to pull it out. And the Dolphins are a good team to be compared to, I think. So
yeah, I appreciate that. That's very nice. I mean, don't compare me to McDaniel though, so I appreciate
that. No. Mike McDaniel is much cooler than you. He's got jokes all day. So, all right. So last thing.
That was fun.
Last you gotta you want to try to throw predictions in here?
Let's try. I'm gonna get booted at some point. Let's do it.
That's fine. All right, we'll go real quick. We don't have to do a lot of start sits. Let's just go straight down the list. First matchup, me versus the duo.
You versus the duo. I've got you, Ty.
I'm gonna take me as well. I don't have picks from Boyer and Andy. I didn't ask them. They can throw them
I've
out
got
there
you.
later.
I've got you. The duo's
Then
got they got a good team. They got a fighting shot.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm nervous about this week.
Yeah,
Next we've got you versus Colin. Oh, he left. So next we got Jeremy versus Colin. We're all taking Jeremy. I'm sure Jeremy would have picked this as well. After that, we've got Chris versus Andy. Andy has been trying to move some players. Chris has just got too much firepower. I'm going to take Chris. Chris has been on the upswing. Paul versus Boyer. This one's going to be a fun one. Let me do a quick rundown of this one due to I got to figure out who's got who here. Paul's got Purdy, Addison, Hollywood Brown, maybe Nico Collins, but he's got Deontay Johnson in right now, Joe Mixon, Isaiah Pacheco, Sam Laporta, kicker and defense. Boyer's sitting on Tua, Evans, Cooper, Hall, Warren. Like I said earlier, I think Warren's still going to be a split. Evan Ingram's been solid this year, not a Sam Laporta good. Rashad White and the kicker and defense. He could throw in Godwin. I'm not. Rashee Rice, probably not. I'm gonna take Boyer in this matchup. After that, we got Walker versus Fryer. I'm gonna take Fryer in this one, although I'm not huge on Devin Singletary. But he did get all the work last week. I think he's gonna continue to get 15 to 20 touches. He's got Puka Nacua back, if not Zay Flowers. Walker's got huge upside, but Najee, Pollard, Chuba all make me a little nervous. So I'm going to take Fryer on that one. And then we've got Charlie versus Robbie, which is going to be a big playoff implication game here. 5-5 versus 5-5. Fields, Chase, Ridley, Etienne, Montgomery, Hawkinson, Metcalf. Joe Burrow, he just got. So Fields against Detroit, Burrow against Baltimore. Ooh. I'm gonna play Burrow just to be safe. Robbie, Prescott, McLaurin, Kirk, Barkley, Connor, Kittle, Jones. Not a whole lot going. Madison, Jerry Jeudy. They both got some questions, but I'm taking Charlie in this one. So there are predictions. Duo, you suck. Everybody out here, I hope you guys enjoyed this a little bit. It was a little bit different, different setup, different layout. Let us know your thoughts on some of the stats, some of the things we did. Thanks, Jay, for jumping on. Other than that, I'm out, and we'll see you guys next week.